everyone, you're welcome to the channel. So today I want to show you how I make oha soup using dried oha leaf. So in this ziploc I have the preserved dried oha leaf. I'm going to take out some and I'll proceed to soaking it with some warm water and salt. I'm putting in the salt because this oha was not washed before drying. This way it will help clean out the dirt and also leave the color. But guys, it's already dark, but I'm telling you, this oha, like, it's a very good alternative for when you don't have the fresh one. It works for me. If it's what you have to make do. It works. So I like to eat our native soup even while living abroad. So this is what I do most often to get these things readily available. So let's proceed to cooking. So in my cooking pot, I'm going to be adding some beef and some shaki. I will season this properly and allow it to cook without adding any water. It's going to sweat out its own juice. So in my pot, I'm adding here some salt. I'll proceed to add some bouillon cube and then some crushed habanero pepper. Also, I'll be adding onion. Yes, I know some of you might wonder why the onion, because when you're cooking native traditional soup, you may want to argue that you don't use the onion, but I'm using it because I like it. Do well to take it out. It's your choice. It doesn't make the soup taste any bad. So I'm adding my onions and then I'll cover it and allow it to cook. Guys, here I have some crayfish. Now I'm showing you this like I wash my crayfish. I pick it carefully and wash it. This crayfish came very dirty, and guys, you want to do this carefully because you don't want to transfer sand or dirt into your food. In fact, this crayfish had some little snail back and all of this, so I had to carefully pick it out and then wash it with warm water. Guys, tell me, do you wash your crayfish? If it's as me, I feel like this one was not clean enough, so I had to wash. Do you wash your crayfish? Tell me in the comment section. Well, guys, for me, I washed this crayfish so that'll be neat. Then I went ahead to crush it with my mortar. Crushing it with one habanero pepper because I already put in some pepper before. And guys, this particular meal my kids will be eating from it. So if it's too hot, then they will leave everything for me, and I don't want to eat alone. So I'm going to crush it here and then proceed to cooking. Guys, here I have some banla fish and some mackerel fish. I grilled this in my air fryer. You can see how I bent the fish with toothpick. Guys, I'm not using stock fish for this soup. I'm only using this fish and dry fish. Now, the reason for this fish, it's not so dry, it's because, like I said, my kids will eat from it. These days, they don't want to eat their beef. So I feel like the fish is healthy also. So since they prefer it, why not use it for them? So guys, feel free to use your stock fish. At the stage where the pot is already, you would want to add the stock fish, but for this recipe I'm using the banla fish and the mackerel fish for this recipe. You can use stock fish, of course. So let's clean this out carefully. So I'm going to debone it and remove every stuff I don't want in it, e.g. the gills. I've already taken those out earlier, but I will carefully clean it and make sure there is no bone in it. You don't want whomever eating to choke on it. So that's what I'm doing here. So the beef has been cooking now and it's halfway done. At this point, you can see the water that this beef sweat out by itself. The kitchen was scenting so much, so at this point you want to add the cooking water. So guys, I'm going to add the cooking water, but as usual, I'll bring it just exactly to the level of the beef. I don't want the soup to be too runny. And here I'm proceeding to soak the dried catfish with boiling hot water. I will wash this properly with salt and sponge even to make sure like the dirt is out of it. Yes, guys, you want to do this carefully. So going back to the pot, it's boiling, and right now I'm going to proceed to add my palm oil and continue cooking. So I'm shaking the palm oil very well and then I'll add it. Guys, notice that I'm using the spatula to add the oil. Of course, if you're an old hand, you can just turn it in by eye. But you want to do this so that you don't pour too much oil in the pot. Guys, some of you will be like, this oil is not enough. But don't worry. Like I always say in my videos, oil cooks. You allow soup water to boil very well. This way, you have very tasty soup. You give it time to boil. So guys, this thickener I'm using is dried cocoyam. Yes, dried cocoyam. I have already washed the cocoyam, peeled it, and dried it. I did not cook it. You can also cook it if you want and keep it and allow it to dry. But there was no need to cook it because I'm going to anyway transfer it in the pot and it will cook there. So at this point, I'm adding the washed and deboned catfish. I will cover it and allow it to boil. Guys, look at that. Look at the color of the soup. The oil has boiled very well. So at this point now, I'm adding in the grilled fish, the bala and the mackerel fish. I will proceed to add in some crayfish and also the ogiri. This time I will be using ogiri for this recipe. Guys, for this recipe, since I'm using dry oha, I'm not going to be using any other leaf. So I'm going to be using some crushed uziza seed. Yes, because I like uziza in my oha soup. So I don't want, because I'm using dry leaf, I don't want it to be too like busy, the leaf to be too much. That's why I'm sticking only to the oha just to get the taste, and then using that dry uziza. Now that's the ogiri. I will proceed to put it in the soup and crush it very well, and then I'll allow it to cook. And then finally I will add the uziza seed already crushed and the oha, and guys, this soup is ready to serve. If you have the fresh oha leaf, this method also works for you. Guys, is a hit when you use this method to cook oha soup. Now, some of my subscribers had requested for this soup recipe. They want to know the substitute, like how to use dry oha leaf, how to use dry leaves to make soup. And I'm bringing it to you like you requested. So guys, why don't you hit the subscribe button to make me bring more of these kinds of videos to you. Subscribe, like it, leave a comment for me. It encourages me to make more of these videos. And to my old subscribers, you are the real G, the real MVP. Thank you so much for your loyalty. God bless you. Cook this recipe like this. If dry oha leaf is what you have, by all means use it. It works and it's still tasty in the end. So right now I'm going to be eating this soup with gari. So I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.